Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. We're going to be covering true crime cases on this channel, and hopefully some of these cases that we cover on this channel, you guys can learn something from them and take away a lesson or two from them. And that's my hope, at least, by making these videos, that someone learns something from these videos. So the case that we're going to be covering today is of Gaurav Hada. Okay, unfortunately that case ends up in his suicide, and we're going to talk about how it leads up to his suicide, what happened, what were the circumstances surrounding his death, and what led up to it. So Gaurav Hada was from Bharitpura in Madhya Pardesh. He was studying B Pharma at Aurobindo College. He was doing very well on the school front. He was 19 years old. He was into a lot of extracurricular activities. The only thing that he lacked in was socially. He lacked because he couldn't speak English, and he couldn't communicate with his professors and socialize with other students properly because he couldn't communicate in English well enough. Now I feel like in Indian society that's just another issue, because they will put someone that knows English on a higher pedestal, and someone that doesn't know English, they're kind of made a joke out of, which shouldn't be the case, but unfortunately that's what it is. They believe that someone that knows English is of higher stature and higher value than someone who doesn't. Now, Gaurav had this problem of not speaking English, and he, sought help. He thought, why don't I look for a tutor to learn English? So he ends up looking around for tutors in his areas, and he meets this tutor by the name of Akansha in Anna Nagar, in Madhya Pradesh. And she is 3 years younger than him. She's 16 years old. But her English is so good, and she's so good at teaching and tutoring, that she has a lot of students who are older than her. So she was teaching students younger than her, students older than her. Now, because of their age gap of only 3 years, their relationship, as soon as they meet, it's more of develops into sort of a friendship, you could say. And that's how they start off. So Gaurav really likes her. Gaurav thinks she's a good fit for him, and he starts taking tutoring classes with Akansha from the very next day. Now he's going for his tutoring classes, and they both start talking to each other outside of the tutoring classes slowly. It slowly starts getting to a point where they start sending each other explicit pictures, and it kind of turns into a relationship in very few months of them meeting each other. Now, nobody in Gaurav's family knows of this relationship, because basically he will just tell them that he's going for his tutoring classes, and they never asked him anything. They were actually very ecstatic that their son was doing something to better his English, and he was using his time wisely instead of just wasting it. And in Akansha's family, the only person that I know from reading the articles and all the news reports that were on this case is that her brother had some idea of this relationship. And you might be asking yourself, if this guy is meeting her at all these odd hours, why didn't anyone say anything? Gaurav's family didn't know, because he was telling them he was going to his tutoring classes or extra classes. It's not known how Akansha's family didn't question this, why he's meeting her so much and at odd hours. We don't know what they knew, but the news reports don't specify any of that. So they get into this relationship. They start sending each other explicit pictures. That's what the relationship is based on. It's attraction and just lust for each other. And as as this relationship evolves, they start getting into a lot of arguments, Gaurav and Akansha. Okay, once they start getting into a lot of arguments, it's a lot of back and forth. Gaurav finally thinks that it's time for him to end this relationship and get out of it. Okay, he goes ahead and blocks Akansha on his WhatsApp. Once he blocks her there, Akansha was not done with him. She had made up her mind that she was not done with the relationship and she was gonna get Gaurav back. So she goes and starts messaging him on Instagram. She starts threatening him. She starts telling him, I'm gonna go report you to the police because I'm a minor and you're blackmailing me that you're gonna release these pictures on media platforms. On social media, and you're blackmailing me with them, and I'm gonna report you to the police. And Gaurav, at first he's like, okay, she's just talking, like she's not gonna do anything actually. But she continues with this. Okay, she keeps messaging him. So the first time she messages him all these threats, he just tells her like, okay, do it, I don't care. But she's like, no, I'm actually going to do it. Like, you're blackmailing me, so I'm gonna go report it to the police unless you pay me a sum of 3 lakh rupees. Now, this money is gonna play a huge part in this story and how this case ends up. So he was like, okay, now he takes her seriously when she starts demanding this money from him. He goes and tried stealing this money, is what we learn from the reports after his death. His parents found him trying to steal this money. Now, they didn't know what he was trying to get this money for, but they knew that at some point he was trying to get this sum of money. At this point, when she's threatening him and asking for this sum of money, Gaurav knows that this is getting out of hand and she's serious. And he's getting really stressed about it in this time, and he's just like keeping to himself. He's not eating properly. So he decides he needs to share this with someone. And he while his sister's at work, he lets her know this whole thing. He called her up, he lets her know every detail, that there's pictures like this is how it started, this is what's happening right now. And his sister, instead of like panicking, she kind of like reassures him that everything is going to be fine. Like, don't worry about it, we're gonna sort this out. And as any responsible sibling, she of course goes ahead and tells her parents everything that's going on. So at this point, everyone in Gaurav's family knows. His parents know, his sister knows, he knows obviously what's going on, and then Akansha is threatening them. So Gaurav's family, they didn't really, his parents didn't really know if they should be mad at him or they should be trying to get him out of this situation somehow. Okay. Now, Akansha comes to Gaurav's house with her mother, and they threaten him and his family that unless they pay this sum of money, they're gonna file a police report. Okay, his family is like, we don't have the sum of money, and unfortunately they didn't have the sum of money to pay them. Otherwise they would have maybe paid them to save their son's reputation and his life. So what ends up happening is Akansha goes to the police station on August 7th, 2024 with her mom and files a police report against Gaurav for blackmailing and harassment. Okay, the police take Gaurav in immediately for questioning. His parents are there, so it's all like they don't even know what's happening. It's happening so quickly. And the police are treating him like a criminal. And Gaurav's family tries to show the police station, the police officers there, we have proof that she was threatening him. She was asking for this sum of money She was telling him like they were willingly sending each other these pictures, like he was not harassing her, but she was the one threatening him. But the police don't take anything serious that they're saying. They're kind of just like, at this point, either you come to some sort of like settlement with them money wise, or your son's life's gonna be ruined. So of course Gaurav's family gets scared, and they're like, like, of course we want to settle this. We want our son to get out of jail, and we don't want our son's life to get ruined because of this one incident. They end up settling on an amount of about 45,000 rupees. Okay. His family pays, and they come home, and Gaurav is released and he's home. What ends up happening then is that Akansha and her mom come to their house the very same Monday that they were in the police station. Okay, they again start threatening the family to pay them this money, or they can reopen this case because she's a minor. Of course, they get into arguments that they've just settled on this amount, so why are they there? There's a whole back and forth that happens. And Akansha and her mother, they end up leaving Gaurav's house. Okay. At this point, Gaurav's family and him, like, they're all very tired. They're exhausted from the day being at the police station all day, and then this happening when they come home. That they all kind of just go into their rooms and go to sleep. Once they go to sleep, only 3 members of the family end up waking up. And Gaurav's sister unfortunately finds Gaurav hanging by the ceiling fan, and he is dead. Okay. At this point, after discovering Gaurav's body, his parents start a protest and they take his body to the police station, because only if the police had seen the proof that Akansha was the one threatening Gaurav and not the other way around, then maybe his life could have been saved. And his parents are heard saying in interviews after his death, his dad is stating that basically the fights they were having were because Akansha wanted Gaurav to leave his studies. She wanted him to leave all his friends. She wanted him to leave his family and give all of his time to her. So she pretty much wanted him all to herself, and he didn't want that. He didn't want to do that. And that was the end of their relationship. That's how it ended, and where all this started, the blackmailing. And nothing is being done. So of course the police, after Gaurav is found dead and his family is protesting, there's a lot of media attention on the case. They end up taking in Akansha and her mother, and Akansha goes into juvenile detention and the mother is in imprisonment. And that's how this case ends. Unfortunately, it has a very sad ending for both the families, because a lot of lives get affected. And only if a lot of people are saying, Gaurav was 19 and she was a minor, he should have known better. I feel like sometimes when the age gap is so close, the lines of boundary and what's legal and what's not legal, sometimes we don't even think about it, which is what we need to teach our youth and our kids today, is that, they need to look at any relationship and see, even if it's by 1 month, a minor is a minor, and they could be legally implicated if they're involved in any way with the minor. And of course, the police will always take into account what the minor is saying, even if it's by 10 days that they're a minor. The other side doesn't get hurt. And I feel like we need to teach our kids this, that what's legal, what's not legal, and these cases need to be discussed so that they can make educated decisions and wise decisions that don't affect their life, and hopefully can help someone. And I hope you guys like discussing this case, and if there's any other cases that you want to discuss in the future, please do leave in the comments below. And because this is a new channel, if there are certain things you like or certain things you don't like, please leave those in the comments below, so hopefully I can make those changes for you and make better content in the future for you. And all right guys, so I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and the week.